Good morning, buddy. It's Wednesday, August 7th, and it is beautiful outside today. If you get the opportunity, please take a moment to go outside. Fill up your lungs with a little bit of that air because it is nice, at least where I am. If it's not nice where you are, I do hope that it gets better. You deserve good weather. You deserve a beautiful day outside, even if it's just for a few minutes, which is usually all I get outside anyway. But I'm grateful for it. Now, of course, I pay for it because these marks on my face tell you I've been outside. I've eczema. Eczema for me shows up in the form of the sun has been beating on my face and I lose some pigmentation because of it. I don't mind. I'll make the trade. I'm not here to be a glamour girl. I'm here to be a crochet buddy. I'm happy to be your crochet buddy. With that said, let's do the YouTubey thing. Have you hit like? Have you hit subscribe? I only ask because I know that for me, I don't know about you, but for me, I often am so engrossed in enjoying my content creators that I forget until they say, hit like, hit subscribe. I'm going to ask you to take it a step further. Let me know what's on your hook today. What are you working on? And if you're not working on anything, if you're not a hooker or you're not a grabber and stabber, knitter. Yes, knitters are welcome here too. We love you. Needle pointers, latch hookers, whatever you do in the sphere of art, in the sphere of creativity, you're welcome here. I enjoy knowing that you're there. And for us, this is our space to enjoy one another. I'm here for just a little bit of time every day, Monday through Friday, to give you a buddy to do what you do while I do what I do. And for me, I'm going to crochet. But that's secondary to what I want to talk about today. Today is, of course, a daycare day, like every other day. Forgive me for looking down. Those of you that know already know why I'm doing it. Those of you that don't, let me tell you, I'm a mom. I'm a mom of two adults, and one of my adults is walking my dog. So that adult is about to come up on the steps, and it sounds like my second adult may have just come back home. That would be interesting. And I'm correct. They did. Hopefully they know the rules about don't talk to me while I'm filming, because if you start talking to me while I'm filming, I am going to have to stop. And you didn't sign up to be signed up on the YouTube channel, so we won't talk to each other. Of course, they are now laughing at me because they just heard what I said. Nonetheless, they aren't a part of our channel. This is for you and I. This is for you. This is for me. It's not for them. And I'm okay with that. And I hope you are too. We'll talk about them behind their backs. A little. Okay, I'm going to brag about them behind their backs a little. So, anyway, I am currently getting ready, of course, for daycare. It's like I said, it's Wednesday. And Wednesday for me with this particular client is really just a routine day. There's nothing extraordinary or special. A little wacky. I like to do things a little off center to kind of throw something in for the mix, not for him, for me. Because again, I've been doing this for years. So it's super big habit. But I love it. Wouldn't do anything else right now. Except maybe YouTube. Except maybe YouTube. Anyway, I am looking forward to the weekend. And I'm looking forward to the weekend for a reason that it's so mundane and so simple. I don't have to get up super early in the morning and create a video. I can throw some things up on the community channel for you guys to say, yay, nay, hey, we're interested and we want to know more, or thanks for letting us know. However, the category falls for you. I'm also going to this weekend work on another tutorial. I hope I'm getting better at it as I do it, but I haven't decided what the tutorial is going to be yet. So all of that's new and fun and great. I want to chat a little bit today about expectations. And I want to talk about expectations because we all have them. I know when I first picked up a craft that wasn't something that was being taught in school, my first personal craft, for me, that was knitting. I picked up a book, yarn, some needles, and this very foreign experience. I mean, when I say no one in my sphere knitted, no one. My mother crocheted. She made blankets for family and friends. This was the 70s. She made these vests, not really vests. They were pullovers, but they were sleeveless, like they had straps. It was it was the 70s. I'm gonna say that, and that's what it was. Leave it alone. The center of it was a granny square. She made some granny square hats. But what I remember, and I guess the memory is more tied with the relationship. I remember that my aunt, my my dad's brother's wife, was also a crocheter, and she made a hat, scarf, and mitten set. One for me, one for my brother, one particular Christmas. Not my favorite colors, I will admit. Again, it's the 70s. So the color scheme was orange, yellow, and white. And I'm assuming it was a variegated yarn. I'm willing to bet it was probably Red Heart because that was the most accessible and popular yarn at that time. But what I remember most was these mittens were the coolest mittens you could get. I'm telling you, I had it. It was lovely. I literally remember when my hands started getting too long for the mittens, instead of being intelligent and saying, these don't fit anymore, I didn't. I balled my hands up and still put them in the mittens because I loved my mittens. My head had gotten too big for the hat. So I stretched the hat to make it fit. And the scarf, oh, it fit for a while because it was a longer scarf. So I had that scarf for a good long time. I even remember one year because I didn't get a new coat every year. I got a new coat like every other year and probably wouldn't got one that often except for the fact that I literally just jumped inside so much that you had to make that change. But I remember picking my coat not because I particularly liked that coat, but I remember that it matched my hat and my gloves. I loved my handmade items. Those things were precious to me and fun. Nobody else had one like that. I remember being a little kid, I didn't get to wear most of the things that other kids wore because I was bigger than they were. They didn't make the stuff that those kids wore in my size. So, and the other side of that coin was, in addition to the fact that my mom crocheted, she sewed. That's something else I can't do. I don't know how to use a sewing machine at all. And at this point, I don't have the space for one. But at some point, I'd like to learn. Anyway, I remember so well that my mom would make my clothes, and I was always like, You know that slow look you give where you're trying not to roll your eyes because your mom will knock your block off? Not you. You didn't experience that. Are you sure you're a Gen X kid or earlier? Maybe you're not. And that's okay too. I'm glad if you never had that experience. I did. I knew full well that the answer to every question asked by an adult was going to be responded with yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, yes, sir, no, sir. Point blank, period. I ironically am not much different. I'm a lot more open to a dialogue and a conversation with a child, but I will tell you freely, I don't negotiate with terrorists. I give you every opportunity to get the answer that I want. Honest. And for some people, that may be bothersome. It may be a bit of a turnoff. I'm sorry if it is, but I am going to be authentically who I am. I'm Michelle. This is just Michelle Crochets. This is who I give you, the raw, unfiltered me. Periodically, you'll get a tutorial. Most of the time, you're going to get a raw me. Anyway, I don't know how many of you do gratitude journals. I do. I do my gratitude journal. And I'm sorry, I think I've hit that thing like 3 times. Hopefully, it's not making that squelch noise when I do that. Anyway, this morning, in filling out my gratitude journal, one of the questions was, what food do you most like to indulge in? My answer was, I don't know. And I don't know for a very simple reason. I like food that expresses the passion of the person that created it. It can be something as simple as some basic potatoes. Did you enjoy making those potatoes? Did you season them with a little extra zest of happiness? Oh, it'll show in your food. Because if you didn't want to cook it, it's bland and I don't want to eat it. Now it's a punishment. But I have a question for you. And it's a question that I've kicked around with a number of my friends over the years. What is your favorite song? If you were to start in your own show and you could have a theme song, what would be your theme song? It can be any genre, it can be with words, without classical, it can be contemporary, it can be jazz, it can be rock, it can be country, it can be pop, it can be K pop. I want to understand what they're saying. But I want to know, honestly, what is your theme song? Give it some thought. Leave a comment down below. My theme song. My theme song is by Whitney Houston. Yes, I'm a Whitney Houston fan. I'm a fan of a lot of different artists, but hers too. And she was in this movie, The Preacher's Wife. At the end of the song, at the end of the movie, I'm sorry, at the end of the movie, there was this song, Step by Step. And the first time I heard it, it really didn't resonate with me. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. A couple of months later, I'm sure it was months, my dad was watching this movie because he was a Denzel Washington fan. And it was one of those days where he wasn't watching sports, which was very rare. He had a set of movies that he liked, but mostly this man was a sports fan, and he was usually asleep while he was watching those sports. I dare you to try to change the channel while he's watching those sports because he hears it, and he will tell you to turn that back on to what he had it on, and don't do it again. And you better not. He wasn't playing. My dad was a great guy, but he didn't play about that television. That was his. This man had a huge TV at the time when large TVs were uncommon, not just in my community and in my area, but anywhere. He had to have the biggest screen. And okay, that's cool for you. So, excuse me for just a moment. So anyway, we were watching The Preacher's Wife again, and I hear the end credit song, and it was like, wow. I'm not going to go into any great details about that song with you simply because I don't know what YouTube's rules and regulations are about songs other than the fact that I know they do copyright strikes. Now, that doesn't really affect me directly right now because I'm not monetized. What can you take from me except my channel? And that would hurt my feelings. So rather than upset the YT gods, I'm going to leave that alone. But if you get the chance and that's not your genre of music, go to Google and look up the lyrics to that song. If it sparks a little bit of happiness in your heart, listen to it because I promise you, it's worth the listen. It sincerely is. I still, like I said, would like to know what your song is. What speaks to you? What is it if you were to walk in the room and that song played, everybody like, that's so and so, go girl or go guy or go they. Hey, what is that song? Tell me. And if you want to add, what is your go-to comfort food? What is that one thing that if you went to a new restaurant but they serve this particular item, you're gonna request it because that's your love food, your language, your soul craves this food. Because for me, I don't have one. And maybe I'd be looking for one. No, not really. Now I'll tell why. There was one thing that was a indulgence food, and it wasn't an indulgence because it wasn't a very expensive food. It was tuna fish salad, but it had to be made by my dad. I make a great tuna fish salad. I honestly do. My kids love it. Other people who've had it say it's wonderful. My daycare kids love it. I like it. My tweak is I don't do the sweet relish. I do dill relish because I like more of a less sweet thing. But again, some of that's diabetic. Some of that is just I'm not that big on it being sweet. I like a balance. So that's, something that I was enamored with. The first time I went away to camp, we had Girl Scout camps, and you'd go away for a week. But the first night you get there, you had to bring your own dinner because they weren't set up to feed the campers. And my father would take a small mayonnaise jar and fill it with tuna fish and give me a sleeve of Ritz crackers. And I could have two drinks, two sodas. And I think I got an apple and a banana. So that was my dinner, which is a lot more food than I needed. But he always sent enough that if somebody had something they didn't like, I could share. The first summer I went away, a lot of the girls were like, who brings tuna to camp? I didn't care because I knew what I had and it was delicious. I loved it. I enjoyed it. It was great. And the girl who was sitting right next to me, I guess she could smell it. She goes, can I try it? I was like, sure. So I put a lid on a crack and gave it to her. The hum that she made a couple of other girls go, oh, can I try? And of course, I have more than enough. I promise you, I have more than enough. So I'm sharing with the campers. And I think there were like 8 or 9 girls. They got to try my dad's tuna fish. And all week, all we talked about was, oh, that was so good. Da 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 da. A couple of those girls became my pen pals because they wanted me to send them my dad's tuna fish recipe. And I did. And we stayed in touch for a while. I was not good with sending pen pal information back and forth because, and I know this sounds silly, but it was true. I was busy. I was in school just like every other kid. But postage in my household, you didn't play with it. My mom knew how many stamps was on that roll so that she could pay bills. You didn't get to use those extra stamps for anything. We really had a tight budget, and that was one of the things my mom budgeted. So we didn't play with that, and it makes sense. I'm fickle and funny acting about certain things in my household. You don't overstep with some things because you don't buy it. I am very about whatever. But if there are things that are precious to me or things that I honestly budget for, then I'm very, very careful with them. I don't know how many of you did. I grew up in a household where you didn't touch the thermostat. In my household, my family doesn't touch the thermostat. That's on me because I paid that bill. If you decide that you're uncomfortable, either take something off, put something on, or go somewhere else. Those are the options. I cannot afford for you to decide to open your window because it's 38 degrees outside and I have the house set at 72 and that's too hot for you. You have shorts, t-shirts, tank tops. You have a room with a door that closes and a blind that you can shut. You can go naked before you go in there and mess with my thermostat because the next place you're going to go is to somebody's apartment community to find a place to live because you won't be here. My kids know that. We don't have the discussion. Simple enough. Listen, I've talked your ear off for more than 22 minutes and you don't need all that. I hope, nah, I pray you have some fun today. Bear with me, I'm saying. Peace to my runner who just forgot something. He's on his way back in the house. Nonetheless, have some fun today. Do something delightful for you today. Do something delightful for somebody else. But most of all, eat. Get something to drink. Give yourself grace. Give yourself some time to do something that speaks to your soul, whether that's cooking or your craft or it's exploring the possibility to do something new, whatever that is. If there is a person in your life that doesn't know how you feel about them, as long as it's positive, if it's negative, please keep it to yourself. We don't care. We don't need to know. But if it's positive, if it's a coworker or a neighbor or just somebody you see on a semi-regular basis, say hi. Tell them, hey, it really makes me smile to see you today. Or if there's somebody that you kind of have feelings for and you haven't crossed that barrier because you're nervous, don't be nervous. To quote my older child, don't be scared. Just do it. It's okay. I give you permission. And then come back. Tell me how it went. I'll listen. If it didn't go well, maybe they weren't ready to receive your positivity. But this is a positive space, and I'm always going to encourage you to go out and spread a little bit of positivity, a little bit of kindness, please. Because kindness matters 2024. Yes, I threw that hashtag in there. I had to. Okay, let's get to work, everybody. Have some fun today. Talk to you later. Stay and watch me crochet if you like. And that's if I can crochet and get it up. I'll talk to you later. Bye.